Yo, yo. Welcome back to Raptors Flex Plus. I am your host, Halloween Kyle in the house. Yeah. Happy Halloween to everybody out there that celebrates. As you can see, I am in the spirit of the so-called holiday because, I got two youths and, they really get hyped for Halloween. So I'll be taking them out later for some candy, trick-or-treating. You know the flex, man. And yeah, anybody that's touching the road for a party or anything like that, please stay safe on this Halloween. So there's no way that I could just like there's no way that I could just like do the whole show like that. It's just I probably got sparkles all over me. If I got sparkles on my face, then I'm looking real sparkly. Then let it rock for today. But with nothing sparkly about the Raptors last night at all. We lost again. This time 99-91 to the Portland Trailblazers in Toronto. We are now 1-3 on the early season, just to be somewhat optimistic or fair. The season's still mad early, but we are 1-3. But to most of us, we know that we should be at least 3-1. At least 3-1. We already know what happened last week with the Bulls. Now, Portland coming into this game 0-3 on the season, and they've been losing by an average margin of negative 15. They've been getting blown out. And to make matters worse, they played a back-to-back from Philadelphia to Toronto. We were at home waiting for them. And, we're still putting on like this type of anemic offensive performance, man. Um, you can't feel good about that one, folks. You can't feel good about that one. We took licks to a team that was just begging for a W. They played with desperation yesterday. We had every reason in the world to play with desperation because we're coming off a loss to the Bulls. We're not to beat that with a stick, but we're coming on a loss to the Bulls where, we were up 13 with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left, and we lost. And then the very next night, we had a lead against Philly, double digits, and lost that one too. But last night, there was no leads of double digits. For whatever reason, that was a tight game. From the beginning to the end. Tight. We played to Portland's level. That is a young team. We have young players too, but they are a much younger team than Toronto. Let's be real about it. Shaden Sharp, young guy last year. Scoot Henderson, young guy this year. I'm talking about the draft. Now, mind you, they have some good pieces in a Malcolm Brogdon, which cooked yesterday. Cooked us up yesterday. And of course, DeAndre Ayton, who, listen, man, I've been talking about our big situation. To be more specific, I'm talking about the size, pause, just like big body guys off the bench, big body guys starting lineup. Like, who's going to guard the big players on the other team? And it's not even just about guarding, it's about putting a body on to keep them off the boards. 23 boards, career high for DeAndre Ayton, fam. 7 of the offensive variety. Several of them down the stretch of the fourth quarter of that game when the Raptors had every opportunity again to go and get that dub. It's becoming a theme, guys. It's becoming a trend. A trend that will be difficult to reverse if we don't nip it in the butt ASAP. Now, that was only a little bit of our problems. Before I start getting into the details of the game, I just want to give y'all some numbers because it's necessary. That's why. Let's start with the glaring number, the elephant in the room number. 13.8. What is that? I'm sure everybody knows that's watching right now. The Raptors shot 4 for 29 from 3-point range at home. Good enough for 13.8%. That is like way below average. That is like horrendous. And the worst part about it, it's not like the Raptors were taking bad threes. I'll give Darko some credit because the Raptors were manufacturing good threes, wide open threes, corner threes, threes that this team is more than capable to take and make. Not to say that all 29 of them were good shots, but a good majority of those threes were threes that I don't mind them taking because they're open. Whether it's off of the offensive rebound, whether it's off of the driving kick, whether it's off of the pick and pop, whether it's around the screen off the one dribble. Ample opportunities to hit threes, 13.8%. That will rarely, let's be fair, that will rarely get it done in the NBA. And it's not like Portland shot any better, okay? Portland was 11 for 35 from the line, 31%. Below average, not good. So the thing is with this team, let me give you another number. 100. In 3 out of our first 4 games in regulation, we've kept the opponent under 100 points. So our defense is showing up day in and day out. Now, I get it. Against Philly, I wasn't happy with the game plan because you just let Maxey and Embiid just get off on you. But I get it. That is like, they're a topper team in not just the East, but in the league. So, okay, you take your L to Philly because you're also on a back-to-back. Not that it's an excuse, but sometimes you have a schedule loss. It just happens, especially when you play into overtime the night before. So the defense is doing its thing. Portland didn't even shoot well, like I said, from the floor last night. It's just that we shot way worse. Way worse. As I mentioned, 23 rebounds for Ayton, fam. Pirtle, what you doing, guy? Scotty, OG, how you let this man get off for 23 rebounds? The Suns traded this guy because they said he wasn't tough enough, bro. But yet you let this man go career high, 23 rebounds on us on our home floor? Despicable, fam. Despicable. Those are the 2 areas where I feel like the game was lost. From the 3-point line and just on the boards in general. I don't care if you look at the boards and, you know, it was a +1 or +2 either way. It's very similar when you look at the end team rebounding stats. But you can't let Ayton go off for 23. And of that, like I said, this guy had multiple offensive rebounds down the stretch, giving the Blazers a second chance for Brogdon to come fill up the net on you late because we couldn't put the ball in the basket either. Yo, the offense is not clicking. The offense is not clicking. Something's going to have to happen with that, yo. 4 games in. So I don't want to trip. But what everybody is seeing is very clear. We are challenged in the half court to score the basketball. When we get out in the fast break, whether it's off of a miss, off of a steal, off of a block, that is literally our best offense right now. Or if you have Scotty that's just pushing it after a basket. But everybody else needs to just be walking it up the floor. Scotty's the only one that's really setting the pace on a consistent basis. Dennis Schroeder too, but really it's just Scotty. Really it's just Scotty. And that is literally our best offense right now. We cannot score in the half court. Free throws were dead even. Both teams shot 15. The Blazers made one more than us. Made field goals were dead even. Both teams had 38. But again, the Blazers had 7 more threes than we did and shot a better percentage than us, even though they shot the ball terrible from 3 all night long. Here's another number for you. 17. That is the amount of points that the Raptors scored from their bench unit yesterday. 17. Now, we've been talking about the bench now for at least 3 seasons where we feel like this bench is not doing what it's supposed to do. 2-3 seasons. And it's continuing forward into this season where we can't rely on anybody off the bench. So all the flack that we're giving Nick Nurse now for not running the bench guys. What was he supposed to do? Man, them are not manufacturing. Now, mind you, I'm going to shoot Darko a little bit of bell because I feel like, again, Nick Nurse didn't take the time to develop the bench when there was an opportunity to develop the bench. But this bench is not doing it. 17, Malcolm Brogdon outscored the bench. Dolo, he had 21. Overall, they scored 33 off the bench. And we got 17. And you know the kicker? Do you know who our leading scorer was off the bench yesterday? I should do this. Malachi Flynn with 6 points was your leading scorer off the bench. Malachi Flynn, y'all. Yo, what is happening out here in Raptorland, yo? Malachi Flynn was your leading scorer off the bench with 6 points. No disrespect to Malachi, fam. Like, I'm trying to be a nice guy right now. I really am. Because, again, I feel like Malachi got a raw deal when Nick Nurse was the coach and didn't really put the resources into developing him. All right? Or it can literally just be that he's just not a good player. Or literally this could be he's not a good player. There's no reason Malachi Flynn should be your leading scorer off the bench with 6 points. Despicable, y'all. Despicable. No Precious Achua last night. I think he left Saturday's game against the 76ers with a groin injury. So he didn't play again. Is this going to be a problem? Precious Achua? Because groin injuries and hamstring injuries, even though those aren't injuries that are like generally requiring like surgery and stuff like that, those are like nagging injuries, you know? It might be 5 games in order for you to get right. It might be 10 games in order for you to get right. It might be 2 games in order for you to get right. But no one really knows because everybody's body's different. But Precious missed the whole preseason pretty much. Now, he's played okay to start the regular season, but he was out again last night against the Blazers. And damn, we could have used them, man. We could have used them because we got Nyam up on the boards from DeAndre Ayton. And it's not to say like, man, Precious Achua is like the greatest defender against bigs. He's admirable. He tries hard. He works hard. But at the end of the day, he's just overmatched. But we could have used him yesterday because Chris Boucher, when we're going up against other bigs, and I don't know, man. Like, we need to start looking at other teams' rosters. But like for like the longest, they're saying like the center position is becoming obsolete in the NBA. But why does it feel like every single night so far to start this regular season, we are overmatched at the 5? Every single game so far this season, it feels like we are overmatched at the 5. There's too much on Jakob Poeltl's shoulders to do everything that we require of that position as a one man. And when I say one, I'm not saying he's playing a point. I'm saying he's one man that could play the 5 on our team. Christian Koloko, fam, get right, fam. Get right. Because, bro, we need some production, just defensively even, from that position so badly that as soon as you're right, I would not be surprised if Darko throws you out there like ASAP, just to see what he has. Because at some point, the way things are looking is like we may need to make a change at that position and bring in another big body. I'm not saying get rid of Yakib. Don't twist up my words now. I'm just saying we need another one. Now, I thought Pascal Siakam had a concerted effort last night to try to get off, to try to get his game off. Because the night before, or not the night before, the game before, he only took like 8 field goal attempts. And that's just not enough for a player of his caliber. And he knows that. And he knows that, okay, yeah, I'm trying to learn how to play within the offense. But you could see last night that he was picking his spots, at least early. He ended the game with 20, but early on it looked like he was, ready to go and put in some work. The start of this game looked like we were like really about to bounce back, man. Like we were really about to bounce back, and like we understood that this opponent, we weren't going to take them lightly, and that we're going to come out and play our game and bust them up. You came out from the floor 4 for 4. You came out in the game 4 for 4. You're playing defense. You're flying around. What happened? What happened? Because you won that first quarter. But it just felt like once Darko has to go to the bench, like this team just falls apart. Like Gary Trent Jr. B. Where are you, dog? Where are you? We need you to like, yo. You're looking for a 6 man. When you look across at Portland's bench and you look at Malcolm Brogdon, that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Consistency off the bench, knowing that you're the lead dog on this unit, and I'm going to play like it. Now, again, 4 games in, so I'm trying not to go off on these guys. I'm trying. But, we were 1 for 7 shooting threes early. So it wasn't working from the jump. It wasn't working from the jump. But what the Raptors were doing was they were getting into the paint, whether it be on the fast break, whether it be on a little 2-man game where you have Dennis and Yakib with a little pocket pass. Man's getting in the post, Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam. Like, it was working. It was working early. And it worked at other points throughout the game as well when you sprinkle them in. But you start out 1 for 7 for three, and then you end up 4 for 9. Sorry, 4 for 29. So you know it's not working, but we're just trying to jack up threes. Now again, I said it out of my own mouth. A lot of them were good shots. But if they're not going down, then you might have to try to do something a little different. Because you only got 15 free throw attempts, which shows me that you weren't really like going into the paint like that. Even though the game stats might show you that, yeah, the Raptors were doing their business in the paint. I think we ended the game at like 60 paint points. But 20 of them were in the first quarter. So for the rest of the game, you scored 40 paint points. Not impressed. Not impressed. Nevertheless, you held the lead after the first quarter. Second quarter now, Portland wakes up. Came out with fantastic energy, getting defensive turnovers, second chance points, running out on the fast break. Again, these are the areas where the Raptors excel. And we keep seeing teams do things to us that we should be doing to them. And I'm not just talking about winning the game. I'm talking about the little things throughout the game that lead to the victory, such as playing defense, running out on the break, scoring, getting back on defense. Portland's second unit in the second quarter just came out like doing that. Just came out doing that. And not to mention Scotty Barnes, fam. Another, like, okay, I don't want to overreact to this because I'm not really sure, again, what happened or how bad it really is, because Scotty ended up having himself a game, especially in the third quarter. But the wrist, like, you had this injury last year, no? Because I remember you having to get wrapped up last year, you know what I'm saying, taking care of the wrist. You may have even missed a game or two. So hopefully that's not the case this year. But for whatever reason, Scotty Barnes gets nicked up quite often. Quite often. If it's not lower body, ankle, or something, it's the wrist. Now that happened on, I believe it was like a fast break, a drive off of the fast break, and he turned over the ball. He might have been going too fast, didn't know what he wanted to do. Portland played good defense on the play, but he came out and hurt his wrist, had to leave the game, came back. But too early in the season to have these nicks, man. Too early in the season to have these nicks. So when is this wrist gonna have a chance to heal? Because we're still in October. It's Halloween, October 31st. And in the preseason, you went down with a something too. So, that's not really the way that you want to come into the season when Scotty Barnes has by far been our best player so far to start the season. So if that doesn't worry you, then, you're better than me. Regardless, like, Shaden Sharp, man. Shout out to London, Ontario, by the way. He's looking like a good young player from London, Ontario, Canada, yo. Big it up. But, he had some shots there where he was just, shaking off the defender, creating some space and drilling trees, having some smooth drives to the baskets and finish. And I know he got hops too. Good young player, man. Had to just shout him out a little bit here, yo. Canadian content, because that's just what we do it. Understand? Anyway, so he did his thing too in the second quarter. First quarter, first half, he looked pretty good. But the Raptors were still able to go on a little bit of a run late and lead again going into the second half. Now, that's another thing. I mentioned how in 3 of those games we kept our opponents under 100 at the end of regulation. Obviously, the Bulls exceeded that in going into overtime, but obviously that shouldn't have happened. But we've also had the lead in the second half in 3 of these games. And we've only got one dub to show for it. Something's got to change with this team, yo. Something's got to change with this team. And I'm not, for after the fourth game of the season, I'm not sitting here saying, yo, we need to go trade this guy, trade that guy. Sure, I'd love to have some reinforcements just in some areas where we're a little bit weak. Like, in my humble opinion, the backup center needs some help, some support, that position, and the backup point guard. Someone that's going to run that second unit. Because Malachi Flynn so far hasn't been able to show that he can be that type of guy. And I like Chris Boucher and I like Precious Achua. But in certain matchups, it's just not a good matchup for them, especially defensively. When these guys want to take you in the paint, body you up, get offensive rebounds on you. Anyways, I digress. Third quarter, Scotty Barnes started tearing it up. Going off like Scotty does with the wrapped up wrists. You know what I'm saying? Making moves to the bucket, finishing with the left hand. Pascal Siakam also getting down the post, getting some buckets, getting to the free throw line. Like, these are the parts of the game where I mentioned earlier where we kind of go away from our offensive traditional 0.5 offense that we want to do. And Jack Armstrong kept saying this as well. Like, sometimes you just got to let go. Sometimes you just got to get in the post, get some action from the post, and then let your game come from there. And you start to see that now with the Raptors at the beginning of the third quarter because the ball's not swinging around in all type of place. They're throwing it into the post, or a man's getting it on the wing. The screen's being set. Now, mind you, they're going under all of those screens because they're not afraid of us shooting the three. We've been cold all night. But give Scotty credit stepping in, hitting the elbow jumper or the wing jumper. Like, I don't know if the Raptors are gonna have the opportunity to watch film today, Tuesday. I hope that they do because they have Milwaukee on Wednesday, but this is also maybe a travel day. I'm not sure if we're at home or whether we're at Milwaukee. I believe we're at Milwaukee. We go on the road for at Milwaukee and then at Philly. But this little sequence here in the third quarter where Pascal and Scotty were getting their offense off without this 0.5 stuff. I know that we want to work in our schemes offensively. We want to work in good habits so that we can run this 0.5 offense. But there's something that needs to be said about what makes a good coach. Sometimes, now I say sometimes you don't have the personnel, meaning the player personnel, to do the things that you want to do with your offensive strategy, your system. Okay? So what good coaches do, instead of trying to fit a circle or a sphere inside of a square peg, they look at what they have and then they tailor the system to work best for those players. Okay? I'll say that again. Sometimes you don't have the player personnel that fit your offensive system. So you may need to tailor your system to the players that you have to put them in the best position to be successful. So I feel like that little beginning of the third quarter there, that's a perfect example of using guys in the post, using guys on a quick screen, go underneath, bucket. Setting the screen, going around the curl, drive to the bucket. Hey, man, I'm not a basketball coach. I'm just a fan. I watch basketball. I pay attention to basketball. I know a little bit. I definitely don't know as much as Darko Rajakovic. Damn sure I do not. But I'm just saying in terms of what I see. So we lost this quarter again. The Blazers went on like a 12-4 run to end the quarter. And Raptors find themselves down 6, I believe, to start the fourth quarter. Now, here's where I give a little bit of credit here. And maybe I'm just like seeing things in the right way because like I said at the end, on my last episode, spooky stuff, I was saying I was like, yo, the rotations, like based on who we have, Darko needs to find a way to have either Scotty Barnes or Pascal Siakam start the fourth quarter. In this case, he did that today, and it was Scotty Barnes, or last night. He did that, and it was Scotty Barnes. And it was working for a little bit. It was working. Now, here's the thing. Love me some Scotty Barnes. He's literally been the best player on the Raptors for the first 4 games of the season. But fam, you scored your 20th point with like 8 minutes and 40 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And then from then on out, you didn't score again. Zilch. Nada. Nothing. Now, that's not to say that he didn't get some good shots. He had some opportunities around the bucket. Just came up short. But, he was doing his thing, man. He had like a pull-up 3 off of a miss. He got in the post. He was scoring when he's pushing the ball up the court. It was starting to look good. But then, the ball just wouldn't go down. Portland goes on an 11-0 run. And then it looks like this game is in real jeopardy. Real jeopardy. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, just like the Bulls game, Blazers kept giving us opportunity after opportunity. And, our offensive execution, not even just that. Defensively, we're doing all the right things in order to force the miss. But the offensive rebounds at the end of the game, bro, just despicable. Like, listen to this. Okay? Barnes misses a layup. Okay, hold on. Let me set it up for you. Okay? We're down 1 with the opportunity to take the lead in this game. Down the stretch. Barnes missed layup. I have here that it was a good drive. Okay? We got the ball back. OG Anunoby misses a corner 3. Okay? Good offense. Getting the ball over to OG in the corner where he's supposed to be, one of the best shooters in the league last year from the corner. I think it was 40%. They've been telling us that all like the first 4 broadcasts, making sure that we know that OG shot 40% from the corner 3 last year. Missed it this time. And let me show you how important it is to hit these shots. Okay? Jeremy Grant comes down on the next end of the court, gets an opportunity for an open 3 in front of the Raptors bench and drained it. After we had a wide open 3 on the other end on the far side, like near the crowd, not by their bench, far side. Put them up 4. Now listen, Scotty Barnes turns over the ball. Brogdon cooks OG, drives, 2-point layup, Blazers up 6 with a $1:44 left. Dennis drives, scores. Great job. Portland now gets an offensive rebound off the miss. Brogdon makes a back cut, bucket. Pascal comes down the court now, layup, 95-91. Ayton gets another offensive rebound off a Grant miss. The ball works its way over to Brogdon, bucket, 97-91. Game done. That is how easy that sequence there, with OG missing a 3, Grant making a 3, 2 offensive rebounds for the Blazers, and 2 finishes for Brogdon, while we're missing layups and stuff. The Raptors are now 1-3, and we are tied for the worst record in the Eastern Conference after the first 4 games of the season. Wow. Now, again, first 4 games of the season, we could easily just go on a five game winning streak, and then we're like number 2 in the East. Like, it could happen, but it's very unlikely. It's actually more likely that we drop to 1-5 and could literally be the worst record in the Eastern Conference by Thursday night. Because you have Milwaukee coming up on Wednesday against Giannis and Dame, and I believe they're coming off their first loss of the season. Actually, no, I think they had they got a dub last night against Miami. But nevertheless, you're going up against Giannis and Dame, whether they're coming off a loss or a win. I got them to win the chip, just to be, clear with everybody. Just because I'm a Raptors fan doesn't mean I'm not realistic. I got Milwaukee winning the chip. So now you got to go play Milwaukee, and then I don't know who made these schedules, but we get to go to Philly again on a back-to-back. So we play Philly twice in 2 weeks. Both times we're on a back-to-back. This is the NBA, guy. This is the NBA. But, the optimistic fan in me hopes that we can get at least one of those and then go and beat the Spurs on Sunday, right? So you pick up 2, and my whole thing on the week was I thought that we could go 2-2, all right? Because I thought we could beat the Blazers, I thought we could beat the Spurs, and of course I would have been down for a 3-1. But let's be real about it, you know what I'm saying? So shoot, at this point, you're down 1 now on the week because you lost to the Blazers, a game that you should have won, where we actually should be 3-1 right now. But we're 1-3. So let's find a way to go get a dub on the road, man. Like, let's go find a way to get it done, because you don't want to be 1-5 at the end of the week, at the end of Thursday, you know? And then you're traveling to San Antonio, and then Victor Wembanyama decides he wants to have his best career NBA game of the season so far. So, still lots of basketball left to be played. Again, I think there's still lots of positives that we can take from this team, especially the defense. I would love to finish some of those defensive sequences with the rebound and less offensive rebounds, but let's hope that comes very soon. So nevertheless, let's check those games out and let's see what's popping. And if you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you. Again, I'm trying to make this one of the illest channels in the Raptors community. I know there's lots of ill channels out there, but I think that we can be one of them. So, man, in order to do that, I'm gonna need y'all to please share. Friends, family, whoever, co-workers, they like ball. Tune in, man. See if you like it. Subscribe, like the video. Comment if there's anything that you thought was just, out of pocket. If I was out of pocket on anything, please comment. If you think, this guy knows what the hell he's talking about, comment too. And be like, yeah, man, glad somebody's saying this stuff. But also, I'm trying to be fair too, right? We're 4 games in. Let's not go crazy, but you can't like what you've seen so far. We should be 3-1. But anyways, man, you know the flex. It's your boy, and I'm out.